This is a time of great adversity for our country, and I know something about adversity. At 18 years old, I was in a horrific car accident that's left me paralyzed from the waist down. MLK's dream is our dream. For all Americans to be judged solely on their character. Be a radical for freedom. Be a radical for liberty. And be a radical for our republic, for which I stand. One nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and may God bless America.
Some powerful words and a powerful image right there. That young man had his whole life in front of him, and at the age of 18, a tragic accident took his ability to walk. But as you saw, he still stands proudly for this country and our flag. And now 25-year-old Madison Cawthorn is hoping that voters in North Carolina will send him to Washington to help clean things up. Madison now joining Real America to talk about his campaign. Madison, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well, my friend. Thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be here.
Hey, thank you so much for getting dialed in there, and let's chat about your run. Let's talk about first the district that you're running for. This seat was held by Mark Meadows for years. He got called up in the administration. You're running against a guy named Mo Davis, who's a veteran. You're only 25 years old, and you're just crushing it out there. Talk to me about the motivation behind what made you run, because we have something in common. I also ran for Congress. Didn't win, but I'm hoping you do. So tell me where you got the motivation. Did you just get fed up watching politics every day as usual, or what?
You know what? It was in 2016. We had absolutely on display politics as usual. When we saw the Republicans who had all three branches. They had the House, they had the Senate, and they had the presidency. We had a very fair Supreme Court. You would think that we would have seen some sweeping changes, a constitutional public come roaring back. But at the end of the day, a majority of these entrenched career Republicans, they turned out to be cowards. And I got fed up with it and wanted to do something about it.
Yeah, it sounds like you got fed up with both sides of the aisle, which was exactly why I ran. Wanted to run as an independent, but as you found out, I'm sure, when you start talking to whatever party you side with more, they tell you that's not going to get it done. If you don't pick a side, you don't get the money. If you don't get the money, you don't win, you don't go to D.C. In the end, it all comes down to money instead of the American people, which is what it's supposed to be about, service before self. Let's talk about a little bit, if you don't mind, your tragedy. Happened at 18, and fast forward 7 years, if you win, you're going to be one of the or the youngest person in Congress. You're only 25, right?
Indeed, I'll be the youngest member in over 200 years. So, you know, I was 18 years old, as you said, had my entire life in front of me. But then I'm taking a nap in a passenger seat of a vehicle. My best friend falls asleep at the wheel. We run into a concrete barricade. Thankfully, he was okay, but the car caught fire. I was paralyzed in the spine because of a break there, and the amount of injuries I sustained were immeasurable. It was so much. They did not expect me to live, but miracle after miracle, a great team of people in North Carolina praying for me, an amazing team of doctors at the hospital I was at, and then a very long recovery. And so obviously, as I'm sure you can imagine, those taught me the lessons of perseverance and grit. But it also taught me empathy. I knew what it felt like to be invisible in a crowd or to be left behind by the system. And that's something I really feel like I can take, is to have this conservative message, one that's principled, one that knows how to win an argument, but also can empathize with people who are going through a hard time. And I think that's what the Republicans have been lacking for the last 2 decades. Yeah,
I would agree both sides have been lacking that. You know, they get to D.C., the lobbyists get a hold of them, and it's all about them and getting reelected, whether it's 2, 4, or 6 years. It's the cycle. I mean, from the minute you get in, they have to go to those phone calling booths at the building across from the Capitol, right, that we always hear about, and sit on the phones and beg for money instead of staying in the Capitol, doing their job, creating legislation that helps the American people. Talk to me about that night at the RNC convention. I was home watching, and man, did you have me weeping, pal, when you stood up. So tell me about that feeling as just a young 25-year-old millennial, and then we're going to talk about Trump trying to court that millennial vote. But just tell me about what that experience was like at your age, because I'm just a smidge older than you, about 2 decades. That had to be some pretty powerful stuff.
Well, I'll tell you, when I found out the president wanted me to speak at the RNC, I just about got out of my wheelchair to do a backflip. It was such an honor, such a privilege. It was a dream come true. And, when I was asked to do it, the man who was really kind of doing the interview said, Madison, you get to speak to the entire country for 5 minutes. What would you say? And at that moment, the weight of what I was doing really became real to me. I realized I'm speaking to over 50 million people probably at one time. But what was so strange about it is in the auditorium where I was speaking, it was completely empty. There were robotic cameras that were moving around, but it was very hard to bring that vigor and that passion because there wasn't a crowd. You couldn't see anybody there. But I'll tell you, it was such an honor to get to bring that message of conservatism, of Western North Carolina values, and of overcoming things with strength and with dignity to the American people.
Madison, I have one more important question for you, but we're going to take a quick pause and run one of your spots because the theme of this show was what the Trump administration kind of needs to do to cater and get the Black vote, the Latino vote, and the millennial vote. And we had on Kim Klacik, who you know, who's running for Congress. We had on Victoria Seaman out in Las Vegas, who's a city councilwoman there, who's been in legislature as a Republican Latina, the first Latina Republican elected in Nevada. So I want to run your spot so people can get kind of an idea of who you are. And then that last question I want to ask you is what Trump needs to do to get that millennial vote. So let's roll it.
Are you tired of politicians who stand for nothing? You vote for these people to stand up for you. But when was the last time you saw a politician take a stand on anything? Our entrenched political class doesn't stand. They kneel. They kneel to the violent mob. They kneel to socialism. They kneel to globalism. They kneel to those who want to hollow out our middle class, destroy our businesses, open our borders, and close our schools. I am tired of being represented by cowards who kneel. Where is our backbone? In North Carolina, we still have backbone. I was raised to be a patriotic American, to honor our men and women in uniform, to memorialize those who gave their lives to make America the greatest country on earth. To be born an American is a gift from God. Living under this flag is a blessing no matter who you are or where you come from. I will never, ever disrespect it. I am proud to be an American, and because I am proud, I stand. I will never kneel. I will stand. Stand with me, Madison Cawthorn, and respect our flag and our country. Please, if you can, consider supporting my campaign. We need more people who will stand for something in this country.
Madison, you did it again. You got me weepy and you got my vote if I lived there. Man, I'm telling you, as a older veteran, it does my heart so good to see a millennial that did not serve, but I know you had aspirations to before the accident, stand up and stand up for our flag. Thank you so much. I'd like you to answer that final question. We got just about a minute. What do you think the Trump administration needs to do to court and get that millennial vote?
Well, first, brother, I want to say thank you for your service to our country and making sure that flag continues to fly. But I will tell you, to get that millennial vote, I think it's a very simple process. The president just needs to explain conservatism. And our doctrine is the doctrine of freedom, of you being in control of your own life, of us not having to delineate everything by race and by sex and by age, but rather all of us identifying as Americans rather than Republicans or Democrats. The two-party system is a failed system. It's one that we need to move past, and it's one where I believe we all need to come together behind the message of freedom, which I believe is the message that the president is bringing. Anti-regulation and anti-tax increases. That is the message of conservatism. That is the message of you being able to decide what to do in your own life.
Wow. Madison Cawthorn, for 25 years old, man, I see big things for you. Thank you so much for coming on Real America. You have an open invitation anytime you'd like to come back. We appreciate it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I think we could all use a big laugh right about now with all the crazy stuff that's going on in our world, right? Straight ahead on Real America, we're going to chat with the hilarious Hodge twins. And you'll see why comedian Chris Rock is attacking Nancy Pelosi and the left. Don't go away.